we can actually induce this labor and get this baby born early, and then you won't have to worry about the cost of this delivery, because we can do that. It's one of these things, one of the new things they were doing back in the 60s, inducing labor. So sure enough, this young lady went in, and they got to the hospital on a Sunday. It was about 9 days before the end of the month. June was going to be there. And they started the Pitocin, started titrating the right dosage, started the contractions. Looked like the labor was starting to start. They checked this lady to see how far along she was in this delivery. And for those of you that have either had a child or have heard about a child, her cervix was completely closed, thick and intact, which means that labor is imminent, is probably not going to happen, period, now anyway, if anytime soon. Well, and of course, the parents, the mother and father were praying, the doctor was praying, and over the course of time, 3 or 4 hours went by, and the labor was getting pretty intense, as labor does. The contractions were getting closer together. They were getting longer. They were getting more intense. This looked like the real thing. So they checked again, another assessment to see where the labor was progressing. And the surprising look on the doctor's face was the cervix was actually starting to thin out. The cervix was actually starting to open up, to dilate. And thinking, well, maybe this is going to happen. Usually when a young mother comes in for something like this, they have to try it 1 or 2 or 3 times before they can actually even get the labor going. Well, long story short, they went in at 8 o'clock in the morning. By 8 o'clock that night, the baby was delivered by the grace of God. Of course, everybody's happy. Everybody's excited. The insurance covers the cost. And it's a joyous experience. Well, the mom and dad take this baby home. They name the baby Joe. We're going to call the baby Joey. They take Joey home, and everything seems to be going really good. And at about 18 months of age, they notice that something's not quite right with Joey. Something's messed up. And Joey seems to be like in some pain and some discomfort. Probably doesn't have a good appetite. Not as happy as he was. Take him back into the doctor, and they find out that he's got an inguinal hernia in his abdomen. Just means that there's an area where the tissue is not holding together, and part of the insides is protruding out of the body where it shouldn't be. Well, long story short, they go in, they find the hernia, they do surgery, they repair the hernia, and looks like everything is good. They got a good recovery. Joey goes home, the family's happy, and about 6 months later, we're right back to where we were before. Abdominal pain, discomfort, cranky. What's going on? Back to the doctor, back to the hospital. The hernia repair was not successful, okay? The baby is scheduled for Joey's scheduled for another surgery, and during this surgery, they go in, make the repairs, sew the baby up, goes to recovery. Everything seems to be okay. Stays in the hospital the days that he should, and on the day of discharge, the baby starts to deteriorate to the point where the baby wasn't really responding. Baby Joy was not showing signs of a recovery or of getting better. So they called the doctor in. The doctor came in and noticed that the baby was looking a little listless, which just means it's just not active. You know how a young active child is. They're very active. The doctor pushes on the abdomen where the incision is, and urine comes out of the incision, okay? So what had happened was while they were in there repairing the hernia, the doctor nicked or cut the bladder. And so this whole time during recovery, the urine is spilling into the perineal or abdominal cavity of this child. Number one, it's amazing the child is even alive at this point. But number two, this child needs some imminent help right now, if not a miracle. Well, the doctor sees the seriousness of what's going on, And so immediately schedules emergency surgery for this baby Joey. They're rushing the baby back to the OR, and as they're rushing him back, another emergency comes in to the hospital. The doctor has to make a call. Who do I take in to the emergency room first? Joey? Or this other person? Well, the doctor chose the other person. So Joey had to wait. Hours went by. Joey became more